It's okay.
The space aliens have arrived. Grab your hats. This is tinfoil hat time.
Greetings and welcome back to Tinfoil Hat Time. Are they utilizing the court systems to erode our rights? Well, we brought on a panel of folks, all with tinfoil hats, to talk about it. So greetings, everybody. So we got Quint wearing a nice tinfoil hat. We got Daniel wearing a nice tinfoil baseball cap. And we got Sergeant Ben.
Sergeant Ben.
This is a tinfoil fedora, by the way.
Hey, that's what I got, man. That's best type of fedoras, man. We need to come up with we need to collab on a fedora distro that's called the tinfoil fedora. It's like Tails fedora.
Is either this or a ski cap.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, the kitty went on vacation but was washed up on the beach instead. Yes, the kitty was washed up on the beach. I do need to change that picture and fix the caption on it. But greetings, everybody, and welcome back to Tinfoil Hat Time. So I found an article this week that was quite fascinating. And I looked at this like, what in the world is going on? And it's just one of these cases that's... they're utilizing these court cases in order to erode our rights. And in this case, it ended up being okay. The judge just looked at this and said, I don't think so. So hopefully we have another thing going into the precedent. But the take-home message is how many times these cases are showing up. How many times these cases are showing up where the law enforcement is using it in such a way to try to get laws changed or to try and erode away our rights. So in this case, what was fascinating about this is this is like the most open and shut case I've ever seen in my life. And they tried to use this to erode away this debate between you can compel somebody to give a fingerprint to unlock a biometric device phone, and that's why you shouldn't lock your phones with a fingerprint, but you can't compel them to give a passcode. And then this has been one of the things that's been challenged in court. So the brief summary of this is there was a teenager who was drinking and driving like a moron, and he kills somebody in a drunk driving accident, and they find him at the scene. His blood alcohol level is well above the scene. There's other witnesses to say he was drinking. He killed a person. This is so open and shut. And they still try to use this to open up the kid's phone and try to compel him to open it with the passcode. Now, fortunately, the judge saw through this like, no. But what do you guys think about this article?
Well, perhaps in this case, the only argument they have is to use the phone to find out who let the kid have the alcohol to begin with. That's the only argument I got for that case. Otherwise, it shouldn't even involve a phone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, go ahead, Quinn.
One of the things that I was reading in the article is that they had the opportunity just to look at the text messages and Snapchats and all that from the other person's phone, and they didn't.
Yeah. Like, why would you do that? I mean, we want to see it on this phone. Ben, what do you think?
If you're compelled to unlock your own phone, wouldn't that be self-incriminating?
That's my entire argument about all of this.
I mean, the Fifth Amendment's pretty clear on this.
Yeah, and the funny thing, though, is that how many times law enforcement, like, they're now being trained with the iPhones that you just look at. They're now literally being trained in how to coerce people to open up their phone by like, is this your phone? And you look at it because that's their natural thing, and that unlocks the phone. Now they're in their hands, and it's unlocked. This is why you don't use biometrics. While the laws aren't cemented in sand in the Supreme Court right now that say you can't be compelled to unlock your device, there's been cases that say they had to. There's been cases that say they didn't have to. It's still there. What we do know is that biometrics absolutely can be used to open your phone. So don't use biometrics to lock your phone. And of course, on top of that, don't do crime. But, that's, I hope, a given. I don't know.
Now, how do they treat this on a laptop level?
And that's a good question because, of course, your Macs now are fingerprint. And PCs, of course, can do a facial scan.
I mean, let's say you have a Windows computer and you have it locked with a password. And what do they do if they want to get into that? Do they go around your password, just break into it?
Yeah. I mean, it's incredibly easy to get into a Windows computer that's locked. I'm not sure if it is with encryption. Yeah, what's
I
that?
heard something where you could basically go through you just on Windows 7 you could basically cause the computer to basically error report, and you could view the help manual. Sorry, this light is in my eyes. And you could open a new file from that program that was displaying the help with that, and you could rearrange files. You could program, the ease of access menu that's in the corner on the login screen. You could program that to do the command prompt, and then you could when you would click on that, it would open the command prompt. You can reset the password and then log in. I saw a video after it.
Well, here, Quinn, I can tell you right now, if with a Windows 7 or maybe even an 8 computer, I'm not sure about Windows 10, but if you plug a Linux USB key in the side of it, start it up, and you boot from that key, you can see everything on the hard drive, regardless if you're logged in.
Well, the thing is, so the way around that is if you actually encrypt your drive, in which case someone would need the decryption key to get in and see it. So
that, or you lock your BIOS with a password, which most of them have too.
Yeah, you could do either words.
Most people don't do that stuff, do all that stuff.
Yeah, I think the ultimate thing, the best thing is to encrypt the drive, because even if Quint's froze on us, even if it was just a matter of blocking the BIOS, that's easy to get around. You have physical access because you just open the computer up, take the drive out, and put it somewhere else. So if you encrypt the drive, that's your safest bet.
Still frozen.
Oh, there you go. You unfroze just to ask if you're still frozen, then you froze again.
You weren't frozen, but I was for some reason.
Okay. And you froze again. All right. Any other comments on that? Dan, do you encrypt your drives or just enable BIOS, or what do you do on that?
I don't encrypt my drives because I don't really have anything other than music and family pictures, and I don't have any really recent documents that mean anything. And I don't have any business stuff on my drives, so other than pure tinker stuff and games, I found a few instances if I would encrypt my drive and my distribution failed, there would be little chance of me recovering anything off that particular drive. Recovery is kind of the bad side of encrypting something if you need to get something off that drive particular.
Yeah, my drive is encrypted. Yeah, you have to. The annoying thing about it, though, is my keyboard and mouse are both Bluetooth, and so I have to have, in order to unlock the computer, I have to have a separate wired keyboard, which can be really annoying sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the driver's encrypted for the wireless keyboard and mouse.
This is my wireless keyboard right here, and then I also have this other wired keyboard right here that I use to unlock the computer.
Yeah. I use this wired one because every wireless keyboard I put into this thing just doesn't like to work right. I should just stop buying cheap wireless keyboards, but
This one wasn't cheap. This one was this one is a Microsoft one. And it was $100, but we have some friends who work for Microsoft, and they got it for free.
Nice. All right, back on the topic of the article. Of course, the good news is that the judge looked at this and says, no, you got to open and shut case. That you haven't told us anything that's compelling. So they did come to say that this is not. this is a case where they chose to say no. Now, of course, let's talk. I didn't pull up the article. I just thought about it now that since we've been talking about it. But the one case where they did compel somebody to open it up, and let's talk about that, because I actually think in that case they kind of did a. I think in that case that was an exception that I agree with. So this is the guy. I think down in Florida too. When does all this happen in Florida? What is up with that state? So in Florida, there was a guy that was caught using his phone snapping pictures under ladies' dresses and things. And so, of course, he was caught in that. There were enough eyewitnesses to say, hey, we know he's got the stuff on the phone. In that instance, that's the court case where they ruled that they were allowed to compel him to unlock the device. Maybe not give up the passcode, but compel them to unlock the device. So what do you guys think about that case? Oh, hey, Brian. How's it going?
Okay, how are you guys?
Good. Did you bring your hat, Brian?
I just got in the door, actually.
Right.
That's why I'm late.
That was my excuse.
All right. Well, anyway, what do you guys think about that?
I think in that particular incident, it'd be the same thing as having a warrant to get in your house for just cause. Mm-hmm. So if the phone has just cause to get in it because it has evidence in it, I might lean that way, but that's as far as I would go.
Yeah.
I think it really just depends on the situation. Like, I feel like they should be able... I honestly feel like that for both of these cases, they should be able to unlock the phone.
If it's
something minor, it wouldn't matter all that much. But if it's something major, I feel like they should be able to unlock the phone.
Well, here's the side effect of it. Them pictures are on the phone. If they don't do nothing with the phone and the guy gets away with it, these pictures can wind up on the internet, and this person that had the pictures had the pictures taken of, she'd be highly embarrassed. She'd have her pictures out on the internet, and there'd be no justice for her.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
That's how sideways that could go.
Yeah, in the first case, there's absolutely no reason to unlock the phone. And I think in the vast majority of cases, there'd be no reason to unlock the phone. I think that this other case was a good instance because there were absolute eyewitness testimonies. They knew what they were doing, and the phone was specifically utilized in the act of committing the crime. And in that case, I'd say, maybe we do need to see what's on that device.
Now, there is a provision in the Patriot Act under the Department of Homeland Security that would give the courts immediate access to that phone for criminal activity. If you use a phone, a computer, or anything like that for direct criminal activity, they can take it. They can go right around it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said earlier, they can just get the text messages and all the other stuff from the partner's phone. Like they had that option, and they didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, so what he's talking about is, in the article they talk about, there was another person who was a complicit witness that said, yeah, you can have the phone. And they had access to all the communications between these two people. They wanted to see it on his phone, not on this other witness's phone that they had. Because, again, they are trying to use some of these cases in order to erode the privacy laws. Because, of course, who can get behind this guy here? I mean, this guy here, I think he's on his third month in jail now, or third year in jail now, because he's failing to unlock a laptop hard drive that police suspect is full of bad pictures of kids. So they are not building a case. They're not charging him. They're saying we have to have the information on this drive. It's a foregone conclusion what's there, and so the judge has ruled that you have to unlock the drive, and you're going to spend time in jail until such time. What do we think about this one?
I mean, if it's a foregone conclusion, why have the trial?
Yeah.
Let's charge him already. Charge him already.
Yeah, and isn't that sort of like keeping him locked up eternally without charging him? I mean, if they charged him, great, but if they're keeping him in until he gives it up and he never gives it up, that's sort of like him doing life.
life without being charged.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so this raises some situations. Now, of course, they're using cases like this, and they generally will pick cases like this because who wants to argue the antithesis of this? I mean, but the reality is if you really have this foregone conclusion, you either need to charge him and send it to trial, or you need to cut him loose and surveil him, because surveillance is still legal. You know, they can surveil this guy. They could hire a private eye and keep an eye on this guy, and if he does something that crosses that line that they got evidence of, they got him, you know. So I don't agree with this case. I mean, sure, he's probably doing something wrong, but the fact that they have to have the information on this drive in order to charge him, but they don't have anything, they don't have enough to charge him without it, is kind of, to me, that's utilizing, you know, that this is an abuse of the law, and they're using this case to erode out these rights and to make a case where they have to compel us.
Can I ask how do they know that this information's on this computer to begin with? What led them to that point?
If I remember the case, I'm not sure it's in this particular article or not. If I remember the case, it was something like either his sister or sister-in-law suspected that there was something uncouth on there and turned him in, and it was just on the basis of a testimony from a family member or something.
So it wasn't really any strong evidence that this guy was a danger to the public.
Okay, here's a quote from the article. That didn't stop digital forensics. Let's see. Let me go back. Let's see what didn't stop him. What's it there for? Okay, so the case started in 2015 when a Delaware County Criminal Investigators Unit got a warrant to search his home after investigating his online activity. Officers seized 2 iPhones, an iMac Pro, and 2 external hard drives and got a warrant to examine their contents. Rowles refused to give up the passwords required to decrypt the hard drives, which were encrypted with Apple's FileVault software. That didn't stop digital forensics scientists from finding incriminating content, including an image of a girl in a sexually provocative position and logs showing the device had been used to visit sites with titles commonly used in exploitation. The forensic investigation also revealed Rowles had downloaded thousands of files known by their hash values to be abused images, although the files themselves couldn't be accessed. The suspect's sister also told police that she had seen hundreds of images of abuse on the hard drives. So that's kind of their basis. So,
but wouldn't that be enough to charge him and go to court and present what they have without having necessarily decrypt the hard drive?
They want to open and shut case, though. They want to walk in and say, this computer, look at all this stuff on it, and throw them in jail, and that's it.
So you're the judge presiding over this. Do you force him to decrypt it, or do you say you got to take it to trial with what you got, or do you say you got to cut him loose? What do you think?
I'd take that to trial. That sounds like it's still enough to get a conviction.
Yeah.
That's the problem. The judge won't let it go through as a trial. The judge just throw him in jail for, you know, not coughing up the keys to the hard drive.
I honestly just think that after a certain point, they'll just kind of have to give up. If they can't force him to do it, they'll just have to close the case.
Yeah, but it turns out that there's no statute that like a contempt of court order can go on indefinitely. Literally, the only thing that would stop it is if the judge resigns from his position. That's what'll stop it.
There's no statute of limitations, like holding them for 72 hours.
Nope, because it's a contempt of court order. They can compel him to remain in jail until such time that he provides the unencrypted drive.
Yeah, that seems to be an awful flimsy law at that right there.
And
it's too much power in the wrong hands.
Yep, and that's, I think, part of the problem.
Yeah, because I know under federal circumstances, the feds can throw you in jail for as long as they want.
Yeah, and this is probably a federal. I'm not sure if it's necessarily a federal or if it's a state, but
if it's a federal, then that's what they're doing it under.
Yeah. Yep. So the fact is that, though, that he has been confined to prison for 3 years without ever being charged with anything.
Your FBI and NSA and TSA and stuff like that, they have the power to hold someone indefinitely.
Yep. But here's the thing. I mean, list those organizations again, like NSA, CIA. These are nothing to do with NSA and CIA. These do have to do with FBI, but I don't know if they specifically have that power.
The FBI, I'm not sure at this point either.
Yeah. Okay, so of course this kind of leads into Australia. We got way too many of these encrypted devices flying around. We need our own special keys to get in. Come on, man, give us the master key. Yeah, this is a great plan, isn't it? Should we have master keys for these guys?
No. I feel like if people want their data encrypted, they can have it encrypted. Like, I don't think I'd want the U.S. government knowing how to decrypt my hard drive in this computer.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's a violation of rights.
Mm-hmm.
This means encrypt at your own risk. There's no way out once it's broke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
I don't have anything super important on this computer. Just, like, maybe some files and some VMs. Nothing important, really. So it doesn't really matter. But I just like to have the drive encrypted.
Yeah. I only encrypt my important drives, kind of like Dan, you know. The media PC, there's like nothing on the media PC. There's like nothing on the thing. And so I don't really care if it's encrypted or not. The ones that I encrypt my banking computer is encrypted, where all my banking files are. My file that contains all my personal backup files is encrypted. I don't actually encrypt my business computer simply because I've had the thing for so long but I do keep it. I only keep important current active files on that. Everything else goes onto encrypted drives. So
Yeah.
That's kind of that.
I may eventually put some important stuff on this computer, but I haven't. I've only had this computer finished maybe for about 2 months now, so I haven't really had anything important on it.
That's a desktop, Quint?
Yeah, I told you,
Okay.
remember? It's a Lenovo ThinkStation S20, but I had
Let
to
me
put in all these parts and stuff.
Yeah. Let me tell you what I would do with that is I would get just a second hard drive, because usually a desktop computer can generally support multiple hard drives. I'd just put a secondary hard drive on there and just encrypt the second hard drive and just put your personal files on that.
Yeah.
So, of course, Australia wants to come in. This is a case we've talked about. They came out like, hey, we want to have these backdoors so that we can get in. I mean, don't worry. We'll keep this encryption key away from those criminals. Yeah, that always works
makes
well.
them the criminals.
Yeah, yeah. And then, of course, the encryption keys leak out into the black market before anybody knows what happened, and then everything is now open to encryption.
Well, yes, all it takes is one dirty person in the law enforcement agency to leak out the master key, and then it's out. It's out, and the criminals got it.
Dirty people in law enforcement. I mean, guys, if you're not familiar with the Silk Road, there were 2 corrupt federal officials that got involved in that case. It was crazy. 2 of them. It was kind of weird.
And I have my medical records databases, and you're subject to HIPAA rules, and there's a lot of issues now with doctors that bring laptops on the road, and if the laptops get stolen and the database or the hard drive isn't encrypted, they're legally liable for HIPAA violations.
Yeah,
so,
my granddad is a doctor, and he doesn't have anything on his computer. Like, he has all he has to like remotely log into the computer at his office to view like all the medical records. Like, he's not allowed to store it on his own laptop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have all of my records stored locally in, on my premises here, and I don't store anything out on the cloud. I don't store anything off-site other than my backup, which I have control of. So I'm pretty big on, not letting my data out.
Yeah.
That's because I'm a privacy guy. But I know a lot of doctors, they do bring their laptops on the road with them. I might bring a laptop on the road with me, but I don't bring my medical data on the road with me.
Yeah.
No medical data ever leaves my premises.
I believe that's why he has it all in his office, is because he's not even allowed to do what you do. He has to have it all on an office server that he just remotely logs into.
Right.
Yeah, because
Right.
he's
That's
part of the
managed by the
medical
lowest
system.
bidder.
Yeah, he has to go over, he has to connect to a VPN, then he has to remotely log in to the computer at the office.
Mhm.
Well, he's probably doctor for a medical system like St.
Yeah.
Joe's or St. John's
Mhm.
or something like that, where it's at a
Yeah.
major
Right.
database for all the hospitals and stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
See,
he
I'm
works at a
solo-
hospital, so that would make sense.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a solo practitioner. I work for me, myself. I'm in private
Yeah.
practice. So I only access my medical data when I'm actually here to access it. If I'm on the road, I don't access it there. I wait till I get back here. So that's why I could not bring it with me. And being that I run my own practice, I can do whatever I want with my health IT because I own it. The only thing is I get hit with the electronic health records, reduction in pay at the end of the year for not being in compliance with the EHR mandate. But it's worth it to me to eat that penalty in order to keep my records. So I put up with it.
Yep, that's exciting. It's
Yeah.
insane. And any other stories we know of where we're talking about eroding our rights with court cases?
I can tell you one story. There was a guy that lived behind me, and him and his wife got in an argument one night, and he threw a cell phone at her and just missed her. They took this guy, put him in jail at first for assault and battery. Well, then they upcharged him to this thing called electronic interruption of an electronic communication device, which is covered under the Department of Homeland Security.
Kind of like mail fraud for cell phones. You interfered with a cell phone texting someone.
This was a serious felony. Minimum 2.5 years in jail, maximum 5. It cost him $10,000 to get this busted down to attempt of interruption of electronic communication device, which is 2 misdemeanors. This is how silly our court system is.
Wow.
You have to hire a felony attorney to handle something like that. Ones that specialize in only felons.
He didn't even hit her, right? Is that what you said?
No, he missed. He was a terrible shot with a cell phone.
That
what would happen if she hit?
Yeah.
The way he explained it to me, and the only reason they let him out of jail is because he had a sparkling clean record. So they let him out of jail on his own recognizance.
Did he break the cell phone?
Yeah, the cell phone no longer functioned. He said it cracked the screen and made a mess out of it.
They didn't charge him with destruction of evidence?
Yeah. But no, they could have went that route too, but it didn't carry the weight as the Department of Homeland Security stuff does.
Yeah. So I guess the wrap up to the concept is we have to be careful that our rights are not being eroded away. And that's in many ways what they're trying to do, is erode away our rights with legal precedents, with anything that they can. And they'll oftentimes pit us against the evil people in our society because, we have this culture where we're very much, guilt by association, and that's not good.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump over and have a look at the comments. Let's see. Eric Zahn, Richard Addison, hello there. Those rights were obtained at great sacrifices. Yes. What are rights? Yeah, this is a good question. What are rights? Hello, James Miller.
Without rights, you're slaves.
Right. Boo.
Or children.
Tinfoil hat actually amplifies mind control beams. Yes. In fact, tinfoil hats do amplify mind control beams. That's why it's us aliens who actually, we are the ones who actually started the trend of tinfoil hats because it actually helped us get into the brainwaves better. Yes. It was the Greys, though. It wasn't us reptilians. It was the Greys that came up with that. So,
Now that it helps us receive communications from Homeworld.
Yeah, yeah. Why was the kitty washed up on the beach? I don't know, man. The kitty was indeed, though, washed up on the beach. Okay.
Oh, a little while ago in the comments, Pizza said, right now I am eating my giant bag of diabetes.
I saw that. And I'm jelly. I want some Skittles, too. I like Skittles. They're tasty. Phones are a problem while driving and in school. Yeah.
Yeah, in Georgia, the law came in effect on July 1st. We're not allowed, you have to have hands-free. Like you'll get a ticket if you're caught using your phone. You have to use like a hands-free system in Georgia now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think most states are like that. This is funny. In Texas, in school zones, you are not allowed to have even a hands-free system. You are not allowed to be on a phone of any form in school zones in Texas.
Quinn, is that just for automobiles?
Yeah. Like you have to have like Android Auto or Apple CarPlay or something like that.
Most automobiles, including my pickup truck, which is about 8 years old now, will route your cell phone right through the radio.
Yeah. You're allowed to use that too, I believe.
That is hands-free because the steering wheel's your buttons.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like it's like we're not allowed to tinker with the phone, but man, we can have our hands occupied with our coffees and candies and stuff, which I don't want to challenge that law that bad.
Is there anything like that in Pennsylvania?
You got to be hands-free. Of course, you also can't listen when you're driving in most states. I know if you can't also have headphones on. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Okay, eating Hershey's and Kit Kats. I got to tell you, Pizza, if you make it to Central Pennsylvania, go to Hershey Park, man. It's awesome.
We can tell who went out last night.
What's that?
We can tell who went out last night.
Oh, who went out last night?
You know, trick or treat.
Oh, yeah.
I got slammed. Go ahead, Quinn.
Yeah, I didn't trick or treat at all. I just handed out candy, and I watched like the first 30 minutes of the live stream last night while handing out candy.
Yeah.
I kept running.
Everybody had to deal with. Well, I guess you didn't rage, but if it was Friday, everyone would have to deal with you raging.
What's this crazy guy?
Yeah.
Okay. Ryan doesn't have his own tinfoil hat. Gotta make one, man. Gotta make one.
Okay.
Killing someone's okay, but taking pictures on someone's underwear is not. Okay, Dean is playing devil's advocate, so let's go ahead and address this one. Okay, here's the difference, Dean, why that one was the case and killing someone is not. It has to do with the fact that the driving manslaughter case was so clear-cut and it had nothing to do with the phone. He was driving drunk, got into an accident, and killed someone. That's clear-cut, has nothing to do. But taking pictures of someone's, under their dress, that was a crime committed in with the specific device. And that's really what the difference is. Am I wrong on that, anybody?
I think you got that one about right.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
Why the hats? Because this is tinfoil hat time. Usually I'm a lot more prepared for tinfoil hat times, but I settled in about an hour or so before the stream started to start getting prepped for it, and I found that my Nextcloud installation is corrupted. So I had to spend about an hour to figure out if I could figure out how to fix it, and then I decided, nuclear option, we're wiping the thing out and reinstalling an update or a backup. Woohoo, which it's done. Somebody say something, because I got to push files over. Somebody say something.
What is wrong with Pizza? He says 2 + 2 = 5.
Yeah.
For very large
files weren't ready yet. It was just paused.
Pizza posted a funny thing on his Discord server where it was just a worksheet that was like he was like trying to find out like the times of how long it would take something to download. And he was like, I'm sure this person has dial-up because it doesn't take 20 seconds to download a megabyte. That's what the problem said.
Wow. The good old days.
Give up your privacy, guys, or you hate your children, all right?
Well, Quinn, we grew up at a time when gigabytes didn't even exist.
Yeah.
How about megabytes barely existed? Come on, man.
Yeah,
My
they
first
barely.
computer, that thing had 32 rip-roaring megabytes of memory, and that was a lot.
Oh, the good old days.
Visitors to New Zealand can be fined $5,000 for refusing to provide passwords to unlock devices. Yep. That is correct. Disobeying a subpoena for a hard drive. Disobeying a subpoena to unlock the hard drive. Yes.
What good's a lock if everybody's got the key?
Yeah. That's a good question. I mean, come on. It prevents the law-abiding citizens from getting in that data. Who wants to go to New Zealand anyway? Actually, most people, though, I found this out. This is funny. You know that most maps don't even have New Zealand on it. It's kind of interesting. Like, where's New Zealand? Anybody know off the top of your head where New Zealand is?
It's like right next to Australia. That's about all I know.
There you go. Well, hey, you're closer than most people. Most people
thought it
don't
was
even
up
know
there
that
with
much.
Iceland.
Yeah, no. New Zealand is southeast. Southeast of Australia.
I think that's right.
No.
What's that?
He's got his tin on.
Yeah, dude, I got my tin on.
Oh, nice. Gotcha. It's very sweet.
Yes.
Very sweet.
I've joined the space aliens.
All right. Yes.
Are all of our brains all connected through these hats?
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it amplifies the wires.
Tinfoil telepathy.
That's right. Let's see. Using, say, drive crypt, the file names of large encrypted files can be saved to look like, say, game data file, unless anyone knows which app can open the file. Hard to prove it is an encrypted file. Yeah, there you go. Always do that.
What do you got? Us sitting in front of a bunch of old wooden desks?
This is my it's my tinfoil hat classroom. Do you ever saw my tinfoil hat classroom?
I just noticed that. Everybody
I'll show you.
at a wooden old school desk.
Nope, I can't.
Yeah,
do
classroom chalkboard and stuff back there, an alien on the door. Oh.
Okay, let me do this. All right. So if you have a look at it now, there's what the actual scene is. I'll give it a second to catch up for anybody that has.
I can tell you're always game for a good gag.
Well, I mean, even if you can read what's on the chalkboard, it's a list of conspiracy theories. We typed it up there with a chalkboard font. So yeah, that is my creepy alien classroom.
My stream always lags like 10 seconds behind. So this is 10 seconds. The Hangouts is 10 seconds ahead of what the stream is showing.
Yeah. All right. Saddle Ridge says it's time for sheep talk. We will follow the sheep. Freedom is slavery. 2 + 2 = 5. That's right. I think, okay, the 2 + 2 = 5 is like, it's like think speak slang. You know, they're telling us what the right answers are.
I thought 2 + 2 is 3.
I'm pretty sure it's 5. I mean, come on.
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought 2 + 2 was 22 because you just put two twos together and it's 22.
You're onto something. You're onto something here. I think that's right.
That's that new fuzzy math they came out with.
Oh, Lord.
They found it to be more accurate.
The kitty is good at fuzzy math.
Yeah, the kitty is good at fuzzy math. The kitty's down here like, yeah, I eat somewhere between 3 and 5 of these things every day, man. They're awesome. In most states, most can still wear blindfolds. I'm eating candy, but who needs candy when I have chocolate cake? In Australia, that crime is called upskirting.
Oh, Tom, the Micro 2000 said, no, 2 + 2 = 7 if you go to the school district that I grew up in.
I believe it. I was mentoring this kid. I want to say he was in 5th or 6th grade. No, maybe he was 6th. I don't know, 5th or 6th grade. Whatever. They were learning how to do long division. which they don't teach anymore. They teach this crazy weird thing. You probably learned it. I don't know. Where you basically like randomly put numbers together and then add them up until you randomly stumble upon the point where it reaches 0. Which doesn't make any sense.
Something like that, yeah.
And so I'm sitting here helping with his homework, and he couldn't make sense of it. I'm like, let me show you this. So I showed him how to do classic long division that, probably the rest of us learned how to do. And he's like, wow, this makes sense. So he does all of his homework in record time. First time, I think, in the whole school year, he actually finished his homework, in math at least. Teacher marks it all wrong because he didn't do it the teacher's way.
Yeah.
Like, what? So I take his paper to the math department. I was a college professor at the time. I take it to the math department. I say, what in the world is up with this math teaching? They say, we have no idea, but it's coming down from the state, and so we have to teach it this way. Oh, really? So the math department at the Yon University has no clue what in the world we're teaching these kids. Great. We are the blind leading the blind.
Yeah, I remember it was about up to 7th grade. We learned Singapore style math, where it was like all this different stuff.
What is Singapore style math?
It's basically like apparently kids in Singapore are the most successful kids with math. So they at our school, they teach.
Oh.
It's not like, it's just a little bit different. It's kind of, I don't know really how to explain it, but everything is different, like what you were saying. I don't learn it anymore now that I'm in high school. They don't teach it anymore.
Oh,
but still, yeah.
I'm telling you, it's...
Does that have anything to do with Common Core?
Yes. Yes, it does have to do with Common Core. I mean, come on. Of course Common Core gets everybody on the same level. Nobody understands anything. Crying out loud. Yeah. I mean, there was a time when education meant something, I'm not sure. And that's why I'm not a huge advocate for higher education after you're done with high school, because it's like, if you need it for what you want to do, you got to go get it. But to say, I don't know what I'm going to do, let me go to college to find myself, it's like, I echo Josh McDowell. He says, if you want to find truth, the university is the last place you go looking for it. Which is kind of crazy. Computer programming style maths would be Singapore maths. Don't know. Driving blindfolded is kind of hard. However, but at least the interstate, you have rumble marks that make it easier. All right, we're gonna feed the kitty, and then we're gonna go ahead and do we're gonna do our final coffee comments. Kitty. Yep, come on up. Gotta come up.
Oh, that's right. You have to do the Christian channel tonight.
Yep. But I can hang out with the supporters for a little bit. So if we end it a little early, then we'll have some more time to hang out, and I won't be quite as rushed. All right, Katie, go on, stick your face in there. People like it when you stick your face in there. Go on, stick your face in there. You gotta stick your face in there.
Go for the gusto.
Oh, he's got the paw going today. Go on.
Hi.
There you go. Oh, there he goes.
The bag's
he got one. All right.
He's a little leery about that bag. I think it's because he can't fit his whole head in it.
I think it's because he just knows that if he waits long enough, I'll just reach in and get him one. So
right.
Well trained, unfortunately. Right, Kitty?
Does he eat real cat food or just kitty treats? Because that's what it seems like.
He has said that before.
He probably eats too much cat food. The other day, I think it was Saturday, he ate like 3 times before noon. Huh, fatso. Yeah. He's actually not all that huge. He's actually pretty normal for his size. He's just excessively fluffy. But he's a little overweight, but not much. All right, let's see. Any final comments there? Driving blindfolded is kind of hard, however, because at least on the interstate you have rumble. Yeah, I mean, actually, though, that's what Christians do. Christians drive by faith, not by sight. Just letting you know. Okay, once you graduate high school, guys, think long and hard and do your research before you go to college. Yep. College isn't for everyone, including me, unless I have to gain certs and go to the corporate world. And let's see. Teach the kitty cat to be a go-getter. Yep. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the stream part of tonight. So thanks for coming along. Don't forget to have a look at all of the links in the description down below. Patreon, Think Life Media, and all the other places down there. So thanks for coming along, and have yourselves a wonderful afternoon.
And give us some thumbs ups.
Yes, some thumbs up. There you go.